Hey, this is Jack from Alphacharts with a stocks to watch video. Today is April 21st, 2024. Before we get started, this video is for informational purposes only. These are not recommendations to buy, sell, or hold any stock or security. And I may hold positions in some of the equities mentioned. Know your time frame and risk tolerance. All right, thank you all for watching the video. If you haven't done so, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. As well, you can find me on X at Alphacharts365. I'm posting things there all the time, ideas and thoughts and charts and all that kind of stuff. I also run an educational subscriber group. I give exclusive videos. Like after this one, I do like almost an hour long video going very in depth into my thoughts on the market. I do a focus list video. I annotate focus list charts from those videos. I do a market note at least twice a week. I do a midweek video, get scans every night, and so much more. I give that all to my subscribers for $10 a month. Very, very, very small charge. And I think totally worth it. People use it all different ways. One, I just, for $10 a month, really the amount of time that you save is immense. So if you're interested in something like that, if you think it could help you, right? Um, click on, Alphacharts365 and the subscribe button, give it a try. It's a month-to-month thing, so you can try it for a month or two. If it helps you and you make some money from it, great, keep it. And if it doesn't, you can always get rid of it, right? It's month to month. But I think that this is one of those things that if you don't try it, you may be wishing you had. All right, let's get back to the charts. All right. So we'll go over the SPY real quick, then we'll go into about 10 names or so. I always like to give you guys roughly 10 names. This week was a little bit harder than others, but we talked about this, and I even shared this with everyone, that this was a time to be a little bit more cautious, right? My subscribers and I, we got short back in here, and I've actually sold all my shorts at this point. So just to give you guys full disclosure, because what do I think is going to happen? I mean, in general, I think that we get a balance of some sort, and then maybe one more leg down. Where, how much this bounces like down, that remains to be seen. But something that looks like this, that is my idea of the market. So I still think it's time to be cautious. But we do have some things that are holding up better than others, right? So let's go into some names that might be options if you still want to be long the market. And I do have a short idea on here as well. Let's go into, this is Boot Barn. Boot Barn Holdings. Okay, this was a $135 stock. It came all the way down to $50, and now it's rebuilt this base. It has this kind of VCP type action, right? VCP meaning that it's higher lows all the way and butting up against kind of like a spot, right, an area. And I think it's this $100, $105, we'll call it area. So if price can get above 105, again, off of this a little consolidation right here. You get a breakout above, again, I think 105-ish. I think that's a place we could be long boot. And if it doesn't ever gets above there, there's no reason to be long boot, right? It's that simple. So it's a setup. It may or may not hit. It's boot born. And again, you can kind of see it's got some sort of little flaggy. That could be an early entry right there, above 101, 102-ish. We'll see. Also, next up, Zeta. This is one that was interesting. Showed up on my scans. Again, it trades 1.5 million shares, which is pretty good, right? And it's got this kind of, flag went from $8 stock and it went all the way up to, $12.50 stock. It's a 50% increase in a relatively short period of time. Also, when the market was correcting. So that all has my interest, right? Trades enough volume and and it looks pretty good. Where can it go to? Maybe 13 and a half, right? Maybe back to these all-time highs. These all-time highs, I don't even know. Um, yeah, it looks like this is the IPO right here. So I think it could potentially get to about this 13 and a half or so. That's a nice little move, especially in a correcting market. And yeah, so Zeta Global. And again, it was a brand new name this week. Omni-channel, data-driven cloud platform that provides enterprise with consumer intelligence and marketing automation software. Okay, software company. By the way, I'm using DeepView. If you're interested in DeepView, go to deepview.com and check that out. Next up, AEM. Again, some metals and miners in here. Here comes AEM, right? This is a gold miner. Broke out of this kind of base. We had this kind of expanding area here, and it decided to go higher. Is it, is this the perfect spot to buy? Probably not. This probably needs to come back a little bit, right? And then again, this is not exact spots, right? Pull in some, let the moving averages catch up, and then potentially move higher. That's AEM, EQX. That's EQ, not EQX. This is Equinox Gold. Here we go. And this is something more that like AEM may need to do, right? So it broke out, came back, retested. Its moving averages are now catching up. You have a kind of flaggy area right there. So if you want to be involved in a gold miner, this one's set up, right? A break of this kind of trend line right there. And then the idea is then it kind of bounces, right? And if you're wrong, maybe 575 or so is your stop. And you have, I don't know, what's your risk here? 3.5%. Okay, that's something you could live with. And if it starts to go, you're going to de-risk rather quickly, right? So that's a name that's kind of set up really nicely. What else we have? HL, sip of coffee. HL, Heckler Mining. Again, same similar idea, kind of had a base, broke out, retest, right? As long as it's above $5, I could be long this name potentially. Below $5, don't want to be involved in this name. KGC Gold. Again, big breakout right here. Right. And I'm not worried about this back here. This is a new theme. Something has changed in this, right? It's traded 23 million shares, right? It's not that's a lot of shares being traded. And so yeah, it's a little extended. It went up 4% on Friday, sure. But again, any kind of pullback or inside day, I kind of like that. And then to go higher from there. So if you get involved, maybe back in 650-ish or so, might still be a little extended. And you have to decide where you want to put your stop. How much do you want to risk? Right. That's something that I go over a lot with subscribers about managing risk and making sure that, that these are just trades. These aren't, we're not marrying these stocks, right? Very few stocks do I ever want to marry. I don't want to marry any of them, right? I'm already married. So anyway, a short idea here. SQQQ, short the NASDAQ, right? Do I want to buy it here? Absolutely not. This is not the place, in my opinion, to want to short. If you think about this is right where you want to take profits, right? Kind of this area right here coming in, something like that, right? That's a profit-taking area right there. What you're looking for is that pullback and then that breakout. So pull back into the moving averages, they start to come around, maybe into this, $12 or so area. And then you can manage risk more effectively versus there. By the way, this was the note back on 414. This was last week's notes, right? So this is a great example of what I do for subscribers right here. So new area was by level 4, you know, it shouldn't pull back below 1075, right? This and max risk is 4%, short-term trade. That's legit. So we got here's 414. Where you at? 414 right here. So we bought on this bar right there, and we traded for the week. I did a little bit less than a week, but that's fine. I got my money out of it, and then I left it. And that's fine now. Maybe we'll wait for it to set up again and maybe try to trade it again. So this is again just one example of what one of my market notes could look like. This one's a little bit less in depth because it was a very short-term trade, but either way, this one worked out pretty good this week, right? There's I only have 3 names for subscribers this week, and 2 of them would have executed and actually done reasonably well. So there we go on that one. NOG, this NOA, I want NOG. Thank you. Yeah, another one that's doing very, very well, up into this area. Again, now it's going to come back. There's your little flag from this bull run right there. And again, if it can break out, that's the name maybe we can get involved on the long side. RTX. This is Raytheon? Is that? Yeah, this is Raytheon, I believe. RTX. Very defined area. Nice little consolidation right there. aerospace and defense name, a little bit different than what we were talking about, right? We did a lot of minors, we did a short position, we did a retail, we did some cloud software. Here's aerospace. If it can break out above, $100, 105, that's a space that, I say 105. Above 105, that's a name we could be long. And the last one is going to be Sprouts Farmers Market. So let's go into food now, right? So a very varied group of names. Really, the miners are have been leading. Doesn't mean they're going to continue to lead, even though it looks like that they are. That's why we talked about them and oil and gas names, right, and that kind of stuff. Well, here's Sprouts Farmers Market with a very nice tight consolidation and a big 3% move on Friday. It's a grocery store, right? But if it can get above 65, 50-ish or so, not that far away. I think that's a place where we can manage risk, against there, and it shouldn't come back in, right? First off, it shouldn't come back in. Second off, it shouldn't come back and touch any of these moving averages that are all bunched up at this point. So yeah, so if it breaks out, as long as it's above, this purplish area and doesn't come back in, we could be long the name, right? All right, so there you go. 10 names, very diversified, whatever you're into, right? I'm trying to give you guys some variety. If you think that this kind of information, but much, much, much more of it, it would be helpful to you. Check me out, Alphacharts 365. Click that subscribe. Like I said, it's a month to month. It's $10. Like your risk is very, very small in this, but the reward could be much more than you think. So check me out, and I hope you all have a good week. Take care. Bye bye.